Hi, how are you? A viewer suggested that I make a video about my personal library. What books I have purchased and kept, what books provided me with education, entertainment, and wisdom. Now, I thought that was a good idea for a video, so stay tuned. Now, I really don't think I can make a video about books without a pipe and patches on my sleeves. Now, having said all that, a bit of a disclaimer. I am not an avid reader. I like to read certain books, but I don't finish a book, put it down, and pick up another book all in the same day and start reading. It takes a little while for me to find a book that really interests me. And I don't sit in a chair during the day and read like this. I read in bed just before going to sleep. Now that has a couple of drawbacks. One is that some nights I read 2 paragraphs, fall asleep, and drop the book on my face. Wake up, decide I better go to sleep, and then can't sleep because I'm thinking about what I just read. It's kind of a vicious circle. So now let's take a look at some of the books that I purchased and kept. One of the books that I have always referred to and kept is The Wisdom of Mark Twain. The book breaks his quotes into chapters. If I have something going on that I want to kind of get a common sense view from, I can look at one of the chapters that refers to my particular problem of that day and get a quote from Mark that usually humorous and helps out quite a bit. So if a problem arises in a certain area, like one of the chapters is called The Almighty Dollar, you can refer to that chapter and maybe get a quote that makes a little sense. Sometimes when I read some of the quotes in this book, I actually feel like I'm having a conversation with Mark Twain. Now here we have Tales of a Wayside Inn, written by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow around 1860. Stories in the form of poems that give one the feeling of sitting around a fire at the Wayside Inn. Now, it's a book that I can go back to at any time and find a nugget of wisdom that I may have overlooked the first time reading through the book. I'm not usually one for poetry, but this particular book seems to be different. It actually has stories, but they're in the form of poems. I really like it. I recommend it to anybody. And of course, it's a classic. Now here's a book that's been around since 1962, and I just recently read it. It's Travels with Charlie, In Search of America. And I think if I read the notes on the back of the book, it'll give you a better understanding of what the book is about than I would be able to do myself. To hear the speech of the real America, to smell the grass and the trees, see the colors and the light, these were John Steinbeck's goals. He set out at the age of 58 to rediscover the country he had been writing about for years. With Charlie, his French poodle, Steinbeck drives the interstates and the country roads, dines with truckers, encounters bears at Yellowstone and old friends in San Francisco. He reflects on the American character, on racial hostility, on particular form of American loneliness that he finds almost everywhere, and on the unexpected kindness of strangers that is also a very real part of our national identity. When Steinbeck wrote the book, he was already a successful author, so he had the money to have a custom camper built for his pickup truck. Here's what he said. I wrote to the head office of a great corporation which manufactures trucks. I specified my purpose and my needs. I wanted a 3/4 ton pickup truck capable of going anywhere under possibly rigorous conditions. And on this truck I wanted a little house built like the cabin of a small boat. A trailer is difficult to maneuver on mountain roads, is impossible and often illegal to park, and is subject to many restrictions. In due time, specifications came through for a tough, fast, comfortable vehicle mounting a camper top. A little house with a double bed, a 4-burner stove, a heater, refrigerator, and lights operating on butane. A chemical toilet, closet space, storage space, windows screened against insects. Exactly what I wanted. It was delivered in the summer to my little fishing place at Sag Harbor near the end of Long Island. Pretty cool, huh? And in reading the book, I thought, gee whiz, this could have been written yesterday, even though it was written in 1962. I tend to read books that have to do with traveling across the country, usually the United States, like Jack Kerouac's On the Road. Probably read that around 1957. I'm sure I didn't quite understand it then, and have read it at least twice since then. The last time was a couple of years ago. Now, as I made this video, I realized I read a lot more books than I thought I did. Now, not quite this many, but a lot more than I could get into this video. So I wondered, if you liked the video, would you want me to continue with another episode of the books I've read? Leave a comment down below. That would help. Now, as I said, I read a lot more books than I thought I did. And some of them you may not have heard of.